The content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
Is it my story, your story, his story, her story, Jane's story, Joe's story? Is it just an allegory? Show's about to start and we still don't have a name for it. Bop, 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 bop. It's a long story.
Right, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. It's a long story. All right,
man.
welcome,
You kind of have like a little
welcome.
southern sound to you.
I know.
Copyright infringement.
That is copyright. I was gonna say I can't do that. It's like when Matthew McConaughey nailed that. All right. Like you can't do that either.
The song is our thing.
The songs are a thing. I know. But I just listened to so much Dax Shepard. I can't help it. So,
I know.
But welcome to another episode of It's a Long Story. And I'm once again joined by my co-host, Lauren, who lives in the Pacific Northwest. And along with her dog named Bowser, she's counting the days to the Super Mario Galaxy movie opening later this week. Here we go. Mamma mia.
I kind of forgot about the Mario movie, but thank you for the reminder. You would think, I play so many video games. I did actually. I play the games. I don't really watch the movies, but I guess I should now.
I looked up quotes, and one of the most well-known quotes is "Bye-bye, Bowser." So I don't know if you know that one. Also, help me welcome Andrea, our intrepid producer, who's counting the days to give Grogu a virtual hug and experience the Mandalorian movie, also in all its galactic glory. And
Absolutely.
She'll be there in full Jedi gear with her husband, Stefan, fully committed to the bit and spiritually aligned with Pedro Pascal.
That's right. He is my he's my soulmate, really. My galactic soulmate.
He's a lot of people's soulmate these days. He's amazing.
Just mine.
Just yours. Sorry.
Me. Sorry.
Just you.
Sorry to everybody in the world, but yeah.
So we're in for a real treat today. We knew each other professionally for years, but as we prepared for the second plenary at NACFC in 2025, we became really great friends. And our guest today is Karen von Berg. She received her Bachelor of Science in Physical Therapy from Northeastern University, my favorite school, and a doctorate in Physical Therapy from Utica College, also one of my favorite schools because it has the same colors as my other school that I root for behind me, University of Michigan. And she is a physical therapist and has worked there for most of her career at Johns Hopkins University, where she thinks outside the box and she provides amazing care for those in her community. And so, Karen, welcome to It's a Long Story.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
So we often have other guests who, bring, part of that story that you're gonna hopefully share with us about, what you offer them, and with exercise and airway clearance, pelvic floor. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But instead today, we're going to have Andrea and Lauren as those guests and our co-host and producer. So they're going to play all those roles. And so we're going to be hearing from them as they talk to you about their experiences as well. But before we get started, I do want to talk about the plenary because that was quite an experience. And it's about right now that the CF Foundation, tagged us and said, hey, do you guys want to do the plenary? And it was about when we started, working together.
I think it was April 1st when I was invited, and I kind of thought it was an April Fool's Day joke because speaking at a plenary was definitely on my career bucket list, and it happened.
Career bucket list. And then once you got there, you're like, oh my God. And so I was sharing with Andrea and Lauren what you shared with me behind the curtains. And I was wondering if you remember what that nip was that we drank after.
I will just say somebody, I won't name names, but somebody had suggested maybe having nips before we spoke.
Yeah. No, that...
And I thought that wouldn't be a good idea. So yes, I did bring nips. It was bourbon. It was
It's
Bullet.
bourbon, that's right.
Just a couple little bottles to celebrate after we got through our talk.
Good
it was
choice.
really,
Nice.
it was a really great choice. And it was necessary because we really needed to just on what just happened and what a great experience that was.
It really was some stressful months leading up to it. But I think for both of us, I think, man, I don't want to speak for you, Ahmet, but I think once we settled into it up there on stage, we actually kind of enjoyed ourselves. So the celebration afterwards was nice.
Yeah, I think like the best decision we ever made was to do that talk together. And I think because of you, I was able to relax. And I thought it was one of the best experiences ever. And I wish we could do it again. I hope we get asked again to do it together.
You guys nailed it.
We'll have to make sure we cross everything else off of our schedules, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to get started with a question, and it is to just kind of kick things off. And if you can tell us, what is the craziest exercise routine a patient shared with you, and how did you support them?
One of the most challenging to support, I would say, was somebody who decided to start going to the gym, and they just went through and did every single machine at the gym, like in order, the entire thing, spent like 2+ hours at the gym, but only went once a week and did nothing else for the rest of the week.
That's so wrong.
Yeah, that was, I would not want to spend that much time at the gym. That was challenging to support, for sure,
So
and trying to like balance things out.
Okay. So like they touched everything.
Everything.
But just that one
How
day.
long does that take? Because I'm just picturing there's a lot of machines. Do they like repeat machines or just like one of each machine?
I don't remember the details, but I want to say it took him like 2.5 hours to go through and do everything. But maintain that fairly consistently for a while. Yeah. Better than not doing anything.
I used to belong to a gym, and through the era of, I feel like I've been through like, machines, and then like use your own body weight, and then back to machines. But there's just like a lot of room for error on those. Like if you don't know what you're doing or haven't had a trainer or somebody like watching your core or like how you're using it. So
yeah, to compensate and do things the wrong way with any exercise, I think, machines.
Yeah, like walk up to a machine I'd never used before and, just be like, I wonder how many pounds like my triceps can handle. And I'd be off by like a country mile, just like sort of like sticking the pin in. Like,
or the machine was meant for your hamstrings, not your triceps, right?
Exactly.
It's like the gym fail videos that you see where people are like flying around on the different pieces of gym equipment.
Oh, I love that. I mean, just actually listening to this, it made me think of something. I mean, when you're working with somebody and you may be coming with a set plan, but you are watching them, like how often is it that you like really like are, I mean, this is obviously what you're doing all the time, but I was just thinking about like you're like a detective and you're watching someone's movements and you're, as I got to know you, I knew like all the different ways that you're thinking about someone and how their body moves. And so how often like are you just like going off on a tangent and be like, oh, you know what, this is what's going to work for you because you see them and how they move?
Yeah. And currently my role, I am just in the outpatient CF clinic. So we're in a small exam room. We're not necessarily doing the exercise so much. We're more talking about it. I will sometimes have people get up and like, let's try this. Show me your squat technique, or let's try lunges, or, do like wall push-ups or something and get to critique them at that point. And then I can make modifications. But unfortunately, it's not something I can routinely do. And I will often say that to people. I don't want to give you a full routine and then not be able to follow up with you. And that's more in an instance if someone is having pain, right? And they want to know what exercises to do to make things better. I can't always do a full assessment in the time and the space I have in clinic. And I don't have that follow through or follow up care because I may not see them again for 3 or 4 or more months. So I wish I could have more one-on-one time with everyone to be able to really fine-tune and personalize the care.
So follow-up question to the routines. Do you have a couple like set exercises that you like to recommend to most people, or does it just kind of vary based on the patient? Like, what's your favorite exercise to tell people to do?
I can't say that I have a favorite because I really do try and personalize everything. Everyone is so different in where they're starting from, what comorbidities they have or aches and pains they have. So it's really figuring out what's going to work best for that person in that moment. I will say I do like to combine things as much as possible, make exercises functional as much as I can. So maybe combining an upper body and a lower body exercise together, because time always seems to be a big barrier for so many people when it comes to getting exercise in. So looking at combination type moves I really like, or if it's someone who needs to work on balance activities, incorporating some balance into things they're already doing, like washing the dishes or brushing their teeth. So really trying to personalize things as much as I can and as much as that person I'm working with is willing to take on.
And I love that you just said, that it needs to be personal, individualized, because, we celebrate things like, 10 people with CF are running the Boston Marathon. But when people hear that, they're like, I can't run a Boston Marathon. I don't want to run a marathon. So how do you motivate people to, like, how do you inspire them without having to like come up with these crazy ultra, marathon, hikers and people who are doing extreme things? How do you bring them down to, hey, listen, you can just walk around the block and increase your time?
Yeah, if there was an easy answer to that, like how to inspire, how to motivate people, I think I would be a very rich person. I ask a lot of questions. I try to ask a lot of questions to find out what motivates them. You know, my motivation for them may be very different than what their own motivation is. And if you don't have that internal motivation, you're not going to do it. When I look through a chart and see, oh, they have low bone density and they have this and that, and I can come up with the perfect plan in my head, but they need that internal motivation. So I ask a lot of questions, like everything from more information and educational type stuff, like if, say, bone health is an issue, ask what they know about what exercise can do for that, or what exercises may be best to help with bone health. What might get in the way of them doing it? Or if they say, yeah, I can do it, then I ask the follow-up questions. What days of the week do you see yourself doing this? What time of day do you see yourself doing this? To really try and talk through a plan. Because again, if I just say, yes, you need to do that 3 to 4 times a week and spend 30 minutes doing it, it's not going to work, especially for someone who isn't doing any exercise at all right now. So lots of questions, and hopefully we hit on a sweet spot that something is going to click for them.
In my life, like just being out and about, living my life, or either my activities of daily living, like exercising a formal program on top of that isn't really possible for me. But I wonder if somebody's just living an active life, but they're not formally doing a program 3 to 4 times a week, do you talk about that being good enough, or like a way for that to be good enough? Or do you think it's more ideal if somebody does something more, formal?
I feel like I get that a lot. I will ask people, what are you currently doing for exercise or activity? And they often only hear the word exercise, and the answer will be, kind of like you said, like I'm not doing anything structured, nothing formal, no exercise. But then when I talk to them more, it turns out they have a totally active job. They're on their feet all day long, or they're getting out and about and doing other things with volunteering at church or with their kids' school. So they are active. And I will praise that and circle back and say, you told me you weren't doing anything. Like, all of this that you're doing is great. So yes, that's fantastic. But then I do think if that person is at a place to continue that conversation and wants to do more, then that's when all those other questions are going to come into play. And we try and figure out what is realistic. It doesn't have to be full body strength training, 3 days a week. But if you really want to start working on strength training, let's start with one exercise 1 or 2 times a week and kind of go from there and see what happens. But yes, activity is great. It doesn't always have to be structured exercise unless that person has specific goals or there are certain health concerns that we need to discuss further where exercise could play an important role.
So I have a follow-up question for our producer/guest. You particularly recently have, you get knocked down a bit, and it's hard to try to figure out how you're going to get that strength back. But I think one thing that you do great is dancing. Like, so I feel like that's your secret power to try to get into better conditioning slowly, is that you start choreographing some things.
Yeah, well, I'm following other people's choreography, but I think if you were to ask me what my motivation is, it's music.
Yeah.
I love moving to music. I always have. And most recently, my other motivation is that I've convinced my husband to learn some choreography with me for an online popular internet dance that we are learning together. And it's funny because I never thought I'd have 2 left feet, but I've got quite a few challenges in addition to my lung capacity. I've got some vestibular stuff going on. And, I was a dancer for a long time, growing up all the way up into college. And I could learn choreography, very quickly, like in one pass. And now I would say my other problem is memory sequencing. So it's good for all of those things. And yeah, we're just kind of having a blast figuring it out together.
That's one of the most important things, is having fun and enjoying what you're doing. And I love that you said it is like the full body. It's that the cognitive challenges as well, for remembering the choreography. That's fantastic. I love that story.
Yeah. Or not. Yeah. Well, not remembering it is also funny. And it also forces repeat attempts. Because you're like, oh, we blew that one. Let's try it again. And next thing you know, you've done more than you thought you could, for sure, if you're me. So yeah, coming to a social media account near you sometime in the next couple of months.
We're going to choreograph something and have everyone do it, like a huge flash Zoom mob.
Yeah.
Zoom mob.
Absolutely.
Just everyone on FaceTime just dancing with each other.
Maybe there's a dance for the It's a Long Story intro.
So Karen, you just volunteered.
No.
Lauren, I know that you also struggle with, because you're a Division I athlete, you played tennis.
Well, I wasn't Division I. So my fiance was Division I in gymnastics. I was Division III, which, it's not, we don't get scholarships in Division III, or at least I didn't.
Still a collegiate athlete.
My whole year and a half of collegiate athletics was amazing. But, I played tennis my entire life. I started when I was 8. My older brother also played tennis, so he was kind of my motivation in the beginning to get better than him, which I did. So, I'm very proud of myself. He's going to kill me for saying that. But for me,
true.
it was tough. I won't brag or anything, but I did beat him last time we played. But
well, you
for
have
me,
killer serve. I've seen it. It's badass. Smash.
That's my one and only good shot as of now, since I'm now retired. But, like growing up, I always struggled because, everyone was more athletic than me and more fit than me. And this was before Trikafta, before Orkambi. My lungs couldn't keep up. And so ever since a young age, I just hated exercise because it was the one thing that everyone would beat me at. And so, like for me, even into my 20s now, where there is no pressure and there's no people around me, I still like refuse to exercise. I kind of get just frozen every time I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably go walk. And then I just sit and scroll on my phone or something. So, you know, I think the biggest barrier for me would be motivation to show that I can still do it, if that makes sense. But now that I've heard like alternatives to exercising, rather just running, walking, like I might start dancing like Andrea, because that actually sounds really fun. I'm not a dancer. I definitely have 2 left feet, but eventually for my wedding, I'm going to have to dance. So maybe I use that as my exercise for now until I can get a little more confident in it.
Music moves you. It's a great way to stay motivated.
Now, back to like that first question we had, other than the most challenging patient that you may have had, but is there someone who had a unique, whether it's dancing or yoga, but is there someone who presented a unique form of exercise or form of movement? Because I want to maybe move away from that word exercise, because you said then it like triggers people to think I have to exercise, but like just movement. What is there anything that sort of comes to mind?
I will say I'm always learning from my patients, and something that I never would have recommended to anyone, but that I learned from one of my patients, thanks to social media. I'm not on TikTok, so I had no idea there were exercise videos on TikTok. And she started doing weighted hula hooping from stuff she had seen on TikTok, and she bought herself a weighted hula hoop and she was loving it. So yeah, like I said, not something I ever would have thought of, but definitely unique.
Crazy. Like, first of all, there's gravity. How do you like a weighted hula hoop? Like, how do you keep that up? Oh my God.
Well, just regular hula hooping.
I know.
Good core strength, good mobility.
Is it like a hula hoop that has like a weight attached to it?
No, it's just heavy.
Oh, it's just heavy?
Are you on TikTok,
Okay.
Lauren? Maybe you should look it up. I don't know.
I am. Well, it's funny. I've seen a hula hoop, but it has like a little like weighted ball at the end, and it like swings it around as you're hula hooping, and then you can like make it like smaller or bigger with like
So
little
that must be it.
adjustments. I don't know if anyone else has seen
Yeah.
it, but
I've not
I
seen
saw it
that.
once or twice, and I'm like, that's kind of fun, and then I forgot about it until now.
I was thinking you were saying those weighted vests and then hula hooping, but this is like a heavy hula hoop. Yeah. By the way, it made me think of like TikTok classes. Karen used to teach, do videos. Like, is that something we can talk about, Karen? Used to do exercise videos.
I used to teach group fitness classes. Yes.
Yeah.
For a number of years.
I will say I was an early adopter of the Jane Fonda craze in college, because that was an easy way for me to exercise, and there weren't gyms back then. But yeah, I can almost probably do the whole Jane Fonda video from memory. I did it so much.
I mean, that's like
Wear your
she
leg
made it
warmers?
accessible.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
Awesome.
the whole thing. I mean, it was like, it was the late 80s, early 90s. I was in dance, and I had like 15 pairs of leg warmers. I'm not shy about it.
You still have all those pairs?
Well, they're actually back now, like fashionably. So I'm less ashamed. No, I'm not ashamed. You should never be ashamed of your leg warmers.
And before we move on from this, but like I wanted to just say like that made exercise accessible. I mean, I'm thinking about other, celebrities who did that. But accessibility, Karen, like everyone has like people have different abilities we've talked about, but are there other things that you would recommend to make something more accessible for somebody?
Again, it goes back to, finding out what they're willing to do. I had one guy recently, I said, well, where do you see yourself working out? And he said, definitely not the gym. I'm like, okay. do you have any equipment at home? If so, what do you have? And, we kind of went from there. And everyone is different in what they're willing to do. Some people are gung-ho and want to follow a video. Other people, nope, not going to do it. So really, it's just thinking through and knowing what options are out there. And for some people, it may just come down to walking and doing some body weight exercises because either they don't want to follow a video or they don't want to go to the gym. And no one size fits all. But yeah,
Right.
sometimes it is just sharing that additional information about things that they can do with where their interests lie.
I'm personally doing exercise a little bit here and there every day. And I feel like this is the new way to work out, like snacks, and then versus what used to be the thing was just do a whole hour each day, or when you do it, you have to do it for a really long time. Is that something that you recommend?
It's something we talk about quite often, especially for people who have desk jobs or who are otherwise sedentary. It used to be every time a commercial comes on TV, stand up and do some jumping jacks or some squats, but people don't watch shows with commercials anymore, so you can't use that as a kind of a guide for when to get up and do things. But yeah, get up a few times a day and like you said, do squats, or if you're going to walk down the stairs, maybe you then come right back up and go down again, and just getting that extra bit of activity in because, like we talked about earlier, the difference between exercise and activity, even just increasing activity is beneficial. And if we can sneak in some specific exercises to that, even better. I'm going to use bone health as an example again. If it's someone that needs to work on bone health, then maybe we do some jumping jacks to get that jumping and that impact in. Yeah, but absolutely recommend the little bits of activity throughout the day, the exercise snacks. Right, Amit?
Oh,
You like the exercise snacks?
I love exercise snacks.
I do have a follow-up question on the exercise snacks because first off, that's the first time I've heard it called that, besides like when we've talked about it before recording this episode, but I've never heard of exercise snacks. So out of curiosity, does it have the same impact as a longer workout? Like, do you see the same results whether you do those exercise snacks or a longer workout?
Yes, there is some evidence showing that the shorter, like more HIIT style workouts, the high intensity interval training, can be just as or more beneficial than kind of that slow and steady type of activity. So yes, and any exercise is good exercise.
So, when we think about physical therapists, you're like, what does a physical therapist do? Exercise is what comes up, but you do so much more. Your whole, like when we talked about posture, you are trying to get people to breathe better. You're trying to get them into a position that they're going to be successful, like helping them with pain, understanding all their complications of what you're going to do, just making somebody like function and be independent like their whole lives. One of those things that you do is talk about like something that maybe people don't know that physical therapists help you with is like pelvic floor dysfunction, stress incontinence. And can you describe what that is and how you might like be the person that everyone wants to meet and talk about that?
So the pelvic floor muscles are the muscles that lie within your pelvis between your hips. They're kind of set up like a sling or a hammock, a number of different muscles there, and they keep your openings closed when they should be closed and allow them to open when they need to open. But sometimes stress urinary incontinence happens where there's leakage of urine. Fecal incontinence is also a thing. And so that's something that physical therapists can help with because they are muscles, just like any other muscles in the body. I am not a pelvic floor specialist, but I can talk about it somewhat and do minor assessments in the CF clinic. But quite often, if someone has If someone is dealing with stress urinary incontinence, I'm usually recommending that they go and see a pelvic floor specialist, PT. There are other pelvic floor impairments also. Pain is another common one, pain with intercourse, pain and incontinence following pregnancies. And so, yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into pelvic floor PT, way beyond where my CFPT brain, goes for the most part. But definitely something that helps. And just to circle back to the breathing and the posture also, the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, which is kind of the main breathing muscle, work in conjunction and need to be in sync. And they work best together when we are in good postural alignment. And that really sets up everything else that we do. Being able to breathe better, being able to sit down and stand up, opening a cabinet, singing. Really, we want to have that good alignment and good setup to be able to do everything else well. So that's, that area between ribs and hips is commonly referred to as the core, but it truly is the core or the main gear of where things get started for the rest of the body being able to function well, including internal organs.
Yeah, this is something that physical therapists do, and you obviously do. Like, you can do the beginning assessments, but refer to a specialist. But it's something that people hide. They don't talk about it. If we don't bring it up, people may not realize that this is something that someone can help them with and can improve. So it's really critical that people do that.
It's definitely something. In CF, I feel, and I have a cat making an appearance.
Yay.
I'm going to introduce Fezzik, and we can edit Fezzik out later.
No, we won't do that.
Oh my goodness!
Wait, like there's a little Siamese?
Balinese.
Balinese, okay.
But I have husband and daughter who are very allergic to cats, so that's a very low allergen cat, and I may need to remove him from the room. We'll see.
But also, another opportunity for us to say that cat was named after which character in which movie?
After Andre the Giant's character in The Princess Bride.
It's amazing.
Fezzik.
I love it.
Yep.
Missed that
the naming
movie
was
and
a
that guy.
big issue in our family, but we finally settled on that.
Well, just to kind of complete what we were talking about, coughing is one of the biggest contributors to stress incontinence because of exactly what you said. When we cough, we're increasing abdominal pressure, and that impacts that pelvic floor, and that leads to increasing risk for stress incontinence. But you just mentioned another thing, is that pregnancy, and we're seeing pregnancies soar across the country. So are you seeing a lot more people, women who have had pregnancies, who are now presenting this way?
Yes, we're definitely seeing more pregnancies. I can't say that incontinence, I'm definitely seeing more of that. I think when so many people went on modulator therapies and were coughing less, we saw a big drop off in incontinence. But I personally haven't seen a lot of pelvic floor issues with pregnancy. It is something we talk about, and I let people know that this could be a problem, and let me know if it does become an issue, or after the pregnancy, if it is happening. I've had a couple of patients who will go on to PT to make sure that things get back to functioning in a normal way.
Right, that's good. So this is that great answer to when Dr. Euler suggested pregnancy is going to cause stress incontinence, like that it's not going to be that common. Like, hopefully you don't get it.
We have to ask about it. I can't say, like, it's just been in my experience, I haven't seen a whole lot of it, or people aren't answering me truthfully, or it's something they don't want to deal with. Actually, when I first started asking people in clinic, and I ask women and men because men can have incontinence also. Usually it's more fecal incontinence that we see. But very early on in my career, I asked this woman about incontinence, and she was like, yes, I'm having it, but I just can't deal with it now. Like, I just got diagnosed with CFRD, and I have stuff going on with the kids, and I just don't want to deal with it. And I have to respect that. In my mind, it's something that, oh, this could be an easy fix, though. But in her mind, it was the tipping point and was putting her over the edge. So if people don't want to do anything about it, if they're okay with how they're currently managing it, then that's fine, and I let them know that I'm here to support them and figure things out together if and when they are ready.
I'd like to add a little bit from the patient perspective because I actually went through pelvic floor therapy for a while. But it first started, I was noticing pain with intercourse, which I noticed we didn't circle back to that one. But, I had a gynecologist that I was able to be open with. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with that. I had I thought I was going to have to go to the bathroom and then I didn't. So I had the urge to go. And she kind of kicked me up a level to a special kind of cross-pollination between pain and GYN, who was like, you need pelvic floor therapy. And I was like, what now? Because this was 20 years ago or so, maybe 15 or 16. And she was like, you're holding everything is just so tight that, and from your coughing and your posture, and years of this with the CF, I'm absolutely not surprised that this is what you need. And, there was definitely some incontinence going on too. So it's really, it's aside from the posture, which I will say, I just have to add that every time somebody says or talks about posture, I try to sit up straighter.
I was doing that earlier.
Yeah, it's like a I don't know, it's like some weird thing that you just have to do. But talking about intercourse, talking about wetting your pants and all these things when you're in your 20s or 30s, it's not always easy, especially as you're starting to talk to people that you don't know, and then you're going to go talk to a physical therapist about it, in a really vulnerable way. It was hard. That was hard. So I see why patients might not be up for it. But then, the work is hard. Separating those muscles from years of into relaxing them with your diaphragm and coordinating those movements. That was some of the hardest PT I ever did. But lately, when I've noticed that it's been creeping back again, and I'm like, oh, I think I might have a UTI, it's usually my pelvic floor muscles are starting to get crunched up again, and I have to go back to that therapy. So I would highly recommend if anybody is having any of those issues, you can also bring them up, with your gynecologist or just your PCP or whomever, and get it going that way, because it was really helpful for me, and I didn't know that they existed.
Yeah. I love that your pelvic floors were slacking, but this is
They were.
Karen, but this is such another sort of thing that PTs can address and work with you with. So it is, I think that's as you talked about, just asking those questions, getting to know the person and having them feel comfortable. So Andrea, felt in that moment you could ask that question.
Yeah. And Andrea, I like how you mentioned you talk to your gynecologist, your PCP, because not every CF team has a physical therapist that people can talk to, or your CF team may not have the best knowledge of pelvic floor PTs that they could refer you to, whereas your gynecologist, your PCP may have that information more so than the CF team. As like I said, especially if your team doesn't have a PT.
We talked about all this on the plenary, but it's important to recognize with aging comes, starting with puberty and then the days of when your estrogen is up and testosterone's up, and then menopause. And also we talked about andropause. All of those things impact motivation and energy and what you can do. So it's important that we have multidisciplinary teams who can address those things or be able to refer out to those expert partners. This is really good. And hopefully we could use that in our outtakes to get people to talk about intercourse. We love that. Yes, we said the word intercourse. I almost had to just choke it out. Oh my God. It was so hard to say that. But we're so juvenile. By the way, we have
your face getting red?
No, it's just the lighting. It's the lighting. I'm very comfortable with this topic. No, but we have a nurse practitioner that talks about reproductive health and sexual function. And we're lucky enough to have her as an option for people to speak with virtually, but so critical. Before we move on to our next segment, Lauren, CFRD, your blood sugars can really impact your desire and ability to exercise sometimes.
Yeah. And, I don't really know the best way to explain it, but my blood sugar is always high. And so, my doctors are constantly telling me to use exercise to bring my blood sugar down. And, I know a lot of people experience lows while they're working out, but it's weird. My blood sugar actually goes higher when I work out. Don't know why that happens. I don't snack before or after. I do it, an hour after meals, and somehow my blood sugar still goes up. So I'm curious, how often does CFRD create that barrier for exercise for patients that you see?
I definitely have a few patients that come to mind where CFRD is a big factor. And, one guy I'm thinking of, that desire is there to exercise, but then it just may be a totally erratic day with his blood sugar and he can't do it. Those are situations where the dietitian and I may tag team and discuss things together with that person and try and figure out different things. Ask, what have they tried? Because as always, that person with CF is expert in their body, and they know what they've tried and what works and what doesn't work. And then we kind of go from there and hopefully come up with something that may work.
I mean, dropping blood sugars is also such a fear that people have. So if exercise, unlike Lauren's experience, brings that down, you're going to want to stay away from that.
Very important for each individual to work with their team and try to figure out best plan of action for them.
Well, I think we need to wrap things up. So we have a segue that I feel like Andrea does a better job explaining.
This is a little game that we play. Sometimes on this show, we talk about difficult things, and this is just a way for us to lighten up towards the end. So it's a segment we like to call, What Does That Have to Do with Anything? And we're just going to ask you 10 questions that have nothing to do with PT in general, most likely, and tally up the points and have a little fun.
I feel more nervous for this section.
Yeah, you're competing with everybody else who's gone before you and after you.
Yes.
You'll be fine.
Yep.
No, you may not be fine. Sorry, Lauren. Don't comfort her like that.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Right.
I support you.
Well, there's no wrong answer. Or is there?
Till I get buzzed.
There's only judgment.
Okay. I think that this one, look, Lauren and Andrea are going to do the alternating here.
We are? Okay.
I think so. That's the directions I'm reading. I'm reading the directions.
We wrote down L and A asking questions, and you both are A. So I was just going to let you guys fight it out. Whoever wants to do it.
I want to ask the questions. I'm good. So, Karen, do you like to work out on vacation? Yes or no?
Yes.
Instagram, do you love it or hate it?
It's a love-hate relationship.
Your daughters are listening.
I love it for them because I get to see what they're posting and what their friends are sharing. Love. I love it.
Okay, breakfast for dinner, yes or no?
Yes.
Would you rather be accidentally overdressed or underdressed?
Overdressed.
Know how you die or when you die?
Oh my gosh.
I told you it was dark around here sometimes.
How?
Jeez.
Talk to animals or speak every language?
Talk to animals.
Group vacation or solo trip?
Solo.
Do you check your phone mid-workout?
No.
Bridgerton or Succession?
Bridgerton. Never heard of the other one.
Oh my God.
Taylor Swift or anybody else?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
a tough
was that
one.
out
That's a
loud?
tough one because, like, anybody else, I mean,
The Swifties
it's
will
like
come
so
after
many.
you if you say anybody else.
Taylor Swift might not even be okay with that. All right.
Yeah. And then the last one we ask everybody is a road trip. It makes us say album. But
Because he's old. No.
No, they still, you know what?
No.
I don't
I'm at
understand
nine, the
it.
same
I don't understand it, but there are still albums. Like
Yeah.
people
There
do put out albums. So I mean,
Anyway,
so it's
we have
real.
a we
What
have a
music?
record player downstairs.
Yeah.
We have
Okay,
albums.
So favorite road trip album?
Am I solo or am I with the family?
Well, since you chose solo, which
Solo.
could come back to haunt you.
Yeah, solo.
Solo, I'm probably going to have my 90s music.
That's
And
right.
then
Beastie
You are.
Boys, Jane's
Mhm.
Diction.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you do with family, though?
It's usually the Hamilton soundtrack. The
I
whole
like
thing,
that.
front to
Yeah.
back.
The whole thing. And I like the hip hop version too, like where there's like real, like, you know, guest singers. I mean, because
Those are
obviously,
both good.
yeah, so
Yeah.
good. I love
Sure
Busta
shot.
Rhymes. Yeah.
Okay, so your score is like really high. You're like 1,312 points
Where does that
So you're-
place me?
in the high running. In the high running. And that's our scoring extensive, like we've run an algorithm and all sorts of stuff at the end. And there's a prize, which will inform you by email if you win.
Great.
It's a real thing. It's a
Yep,
real
it's a real thing. And then Amit, the last ask that we do have.
Karen, I know this is a part you've been dreading, but we do it. Everyone's going to do it. So let's have at it. Now, Andrea, you want to cue the song and give Karen.
I didn't warm up my voice, though. I'm just going to go
sing.
for it.
You're going
Ready?
to sing for us. Do it.
Okay.
It's a long story.
I mean,
Yay.
come on.
That was
Nice.
awesome.
Well done. Well
Yes.
done.
Well done.
didn't
Okay,
even need
And
to
guys.
set
points
up.
to her score.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be your friend and get to work with you and for you to join us on this podcast. And it would be a great honor to have an opportunity to do what we did at NACFC again.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Get a little older.
Live a little bolder.
We are working hard to provide meaningful information to a deserving CF community, information you won't find anywhere else. If you'd like to help us grow, we'd greatly appreciate it if you would follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you never miss an episode. Want to go all in? Leave us a rating and a review. It helps people find us and makes a big difference. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend, family member, caregiver, or provider who might also want to hear it. This helps you, it helps them, and it helps us spread the word to those who need to hear it most. It's a Long Story is produced by me, Andrea Gavin Becker, and is hosted by Dr. Amit Euler and Lauren Harvey. Additional editing and production support is provided by the team at Resonate Recordings. Until next time,
Get a little older.
Live a little bolder.
It's a long story.
Resonate.